The house was silent in a way that always made Taehyung's stomach twist. Silence in this house did not mean peace. It meant Jungkook was thinking, and Jungkook thinking was always dangerous. Taehyung sat at the edge of the bed. His phone buzzed. A message from his friend Yoongi. "You can't keep living like this, you have to tell someone." Taehyung's breath hitched, his thumbs trembling slightly as he typed a message to Yoongi, the only person who still tried checking up on him. Taehyung. Hyung. I don't know how long I can stay like this. He scares me. Last night he wasn't even drunk, but still shoved me against the wall because I didn't answer fast enough. Sometimes I think it's better if I just disappear. His hands shook, not because of the pain from the bruise on his ribs. He meant to send it to Yoongi. He pressed send. And 1 second later, his heart stopped. Because the message didn't go to Yoongi, it went to Jungkook. His hands went numb, his vision blurred. No, 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 please no. He grabbed the phone, pressed delete, unsend, anything. But the gray check marks were already there, message delivered, message seen. A chill crawled down Taehyung's spine like ice water. His whole world shrank into a pinpoint of dread. And then, from the living room, a soft voice. "Taehyung, come here." Taehyung stepped into the living room on shaking legs. Jungkook was sitting on the couch, straight posture, phone in hand, expression unreadable, too calm, terrifyingly calm. He didn't shout. He didn't slam anything. He didn't move at all. "Sit," Jungkook said softly. Taehyung sat. Silence stretched like a noose tightening around his throat. Jungkook held up the phone. "Explain." Taehyung swallowed hard. I didn't mean it like it sounded." "Oh?" Jungkook tilted his head. "I read exactly what you meant." His voice was too gentle. Taehyung's voice cracked. "Jungkook, I wasn't calling you abusive, I was just overwhelmed. You said you felt scared of me." Taehyung's lips trembled. His hands shook on his knees. "I love you," he whispered, desperate. "You know I love you." Jungkook leaned forward slowly, like a predator lowering itself before a strike. "So tell me," he murmured, "why would my husband be scared of me?" A tear slipped down Taehyung's cheek. "I don't know," he whispered. "Sometimes you're intense." Jungkook smiled, the worst smile Taehyung had ever seen. Warm, understanding, dead behind the eyes. "I see." He stood. Taehyung instinctively flinched. Jungkook noticed, and that changed something in him. His face hardened, his jaw tightened. "You want to disappear from me?" No, I didn't mean..." Taehyung breathed, voice trembling uncontrollably. "You told someone I scare you?" Jungkook asked quietly. The calmness was suffocating. Taehyung opened his mouth to explain, apologize, beg, anything, but Jungkook grabbed him by the chin, fingers digging in just enough to warn him, "Answer." I just said it because I was overwhelmed," Taehyung whispered. "It's not true, Jungkook, please." Jungkook laughed, a small, humorless breath. "Overwhelmed," he repeated. "And you talk about me like I'm some monster." He stepped closer. Taehyung instinctively stepped back. Bad idea. Jungkook grabbed his wrist, slamming him lightly against the wall. Not hard enough to bruise, just hard enough to remind him who controlled the ground they stood on. "You think I don't see the way you flinch?" Jungkook whispered against his ear. "You think I don't notice the fear?" Taehyung's heart pounded painfully. "I'm your husband," Jungkook said, voice low, breath warm against Taehyung's neck. "If you fear me, it means you're hiding something." He dropped Taehyung's wrist and walked toward the dining table as if nothing had happened. "Serve dinner." Taehyung rushed forward, relief and terror tangled like wires in his throat. Dinner was plated. He just had to place it in front of him. Jungkook suddenly said, "Bring your phone." Taehyung froze. His heartbeat stopped. "Why?" His voice came out barely audible. "So we can delete that message," Jungkook said sweetly. Too sweetly. Taehyung felt dizzy. He picked up the phone with trembling hands, placed it on the table. Jungkook's fingers tapped the screen slowly, deleting the message, deleting Yoongi's contact, deleting everything that wasn't approved. "Look at me," Jungkook said. Taehyung lifted his eyes. "Next time you feel scared," Jungkook murmured, "tell me. Not someone else. Me." Taehyung nodded quickly. "And Taehyung?" Yes, Jungkook. If you ever..." Jungkook leaned forward, voice gentle but lethal. "Ever think about disappearing from me?" His smile was soft, terrifying. "I'll make sure you never leave my side again." Taehyung's breath hitched because Jungkook didn't mean it romantically. He meant it literally. Dinner continued in silence, the air thick with something unspoken. Jungkook ate calmly, as if nothing had happened. Taehyung sat frozen, staring at his plate without tasting a single bite. After dinner, Jungkook reached out and took Taehyung's hand, leading him upstairs. Not forcefully, not angrily. Worse. Gently. That gentleness was a cage. That gentleness was a warning. When they reached the bedroom, Jungkook cupped Taehyung's face and wiped the tear he hadn't realized had fallen. "Don't cry," Jungkook whispered. As if he wasn't the reason. As if he wasn't the storm Taehyung lived inside of. Then Jungkook kissed him. Soft, claiming, terrifying. A kiss that felt like ownership, not affection. The kind of kiss that said, "You are mine. And you will never escape." Morning came with strange quietness. Taehyung woke first, staring at the ceiling, feeling that familiar weight in his chest. Nights with Jungkook always left him confused, because after every moment of fear came moments where Jungkook held him like he was fragile, precious, loved, a poison wrapped in care. Jungkook stirred beside him, tightening his arm around Taehyung's waist without opening his eyes. "Where do you think you're going?" he murmured, voice raspy from sleep. I wasn't going anywhere," Taehyung whispered. Jungkook opened his eyes slowly, sleepy but sharp. "You woke up before me." Taehyung swallowed. "I just couldn't sleep." "Because of last night?" Taehyung's lips parted, unsure. Jungkook rarely brought up incidents he behaved as if they never happened. But this time he sat up, pushing his hair back, staring at Taehyung with an unreadable expression. "Come here." Taehyung obeyed instantly, crawling into Jungkook's lap. Jungkook placed a hand on the back of his head and pulled him close. "You hurt me," Jungkook whispered, voice quiet. Taehyung froze. "What?" "You told someone you're scared of me," Jungkook said. "You think that doesn't hurt?" Taehyung's heart dropped. "I didn't mean to." "You sent it to me," Jungkook reminded him, eyes dark. "By accident or not, you told me exactly how you feel." Taehyung bit his lip, panic twisting inside him. "Jungkook, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. I swear I was overwhelmed." "You keep using that word," Jungkook muttered. He brushed Taehyung's cheek with his thumb, gaze softening, almost heartbreakingly. "Do I really scare you?" Taehyung forced himself to shake his head. "No," he lied. "I'm just stupid. I said things I didn't mean." Jungkook exhaled, relief flickering across his face like fragile sunlight. "I don't want you to fear me," Jungkook murmured. "I want you to listen to me. I want you to stay close to me." "But fear?" His eyes hardened slightly. "Fear separates people." Taehyung felt trapped between the sincerity in Jungkook's voice and the warning behind it. "I won't say that again," Taehyung promised softly. Jungkook leaned forward, forehead touching his. Good. Then Jungkook kissed him again. This time slow, lingering, almost tender. Taehyung hated that part of him melted into it. He hated that something in him sought Jungkook's affection, even when it came wrapped in pain. He hated that he didn't know where the line was anymore, where love ended and control began. Jungkook pulled him closer, lips brushing his ear. You're mine, Jungkook whispered. Don't forget that day. Taehyung nodded, not because he believed it, but because he didn't know what else to do. When Taehyung went downstairs later, his phone buzzed on the counter. A new number calling. Yoongi. But the name had been deleted. Taehyung froze, staring at the call flashing on the screen, unknown caller. His lungs tightened. If he answered, Jungkook might hear. If he ignored it, Yoongi might think something was wrong. Jungkook's voice suddenly came from the staircase. Tae? Taehyung jumped, scrambling to silence the call. Jungkook's eyes narrowed slightly. Who was that? Taehyung's pulse hammered. I don't know. Jungkook walked up to him, taking the phone gently out of his hand. He checked the recent call list. His expression didn't change. That was worse. Taehyung, he said softly. Does someone still have access to you? Taehyung shook his head quickly. No, I swear, I don't know who that was. Jungkook's fingers slid through his hair, brushing it behind his ear in a disturbingly tender motion. Good, he whispered, because I don't like sharing what's mine. And once again, Taehyung felt that familiar storm gathering behind Jungkook's eyes, a storm he no longer knew how to survive. Taehyung used to smile easily. People used to say he was sunshine, soft, gentle, artistic, a little shy but bright in a way that made people want to stand closer. He worked at a small art studio near Gangnam, teaching weekend classes to children. His life was simple but peaceful. Then, one rainy afternoon, Jungkook walked in. Taehyung didn't notice him at first. He was crouched beside a table helping a child mix colors. His hair was tied loosely, a soft smudge of paint on his cheek. When he stood, he found someone staring at him. Jungkook. Wet hair dripping, chest rising and falling like he had run all the way there, leaning against the doorway with an intensity that made Taehyung's breath catch for the first time. Can I help you? Taehyung asked politely. Jungkook's eyes moved over him in a way that wasn't rude, but wasn't normal either. He wasn't looking at Taehyung. He was fixated on him. I'm here for the class, Jungkook said, voice slow, deep. Taehyung blinked. The children's class? A child-friendly art studio wasn't the place you'd expect a tattooed, muscular, cold-faced man to walk into voluntarily, but Jungkook nodded once. Yes. Taehyung tried not to stare. The oldest by around 15 years? That's fine. Jungkook walked past him and chose a corner seat, still close enough to watch Taehyung paint, move, breathe. Taehyung felt those eyes the entire hour. Children laughed, colors mixed, brushes clattered, but behind all of it, Taehyung felt that stare burning into him. After class, Taehyung approached him. So, what made you join? He asked kindly. Jungkook's answer was simple. You. Taehyung flushed. Me? You looked warm when I walked by the window, Jungkook said. I wanted to come in. Taehyung didn't know what to say. Compliments usually embarrassed him, especially when they came from men like Jungkook, who looked like storms wrapped in human skin. Thank you, Taehyung said softly. Jungkook's eyes softened just slightly. You're the kind of person people want to touch, Jungkook murmured. Not in a bad way, just you feel like something delicate, something rare. Taehyung bit his lip, heart racing for reasons he didn't understand. And then, will you have coffee with me? The question came out of nowhere. Taehyung hesitated. He didn't know Jungkook. He didn't know why he felt drawn to him, but he nodded anyway. Okay? Jungkook's jaw relaxed, like he hadn't expected a yes. They walked together through the rain, Jungkook holding the umbrella above both their heads, but angling it more toward Taehyung. At the cafe, Jungkook watched him with that same intensity. You're nervous, Jungkook said quietly. A little, Taehyung admitted. Why? Because you stare a lot. Jungkook leaned forward slightly. Does it scare you? Taehyung swallowed. No, just surprises me. That was the first mistake. Because Jungkook heard something else entirely. Not, you make me nervous, but you can keep looking. I won't stop you. Jungkook's lips curved in the faintest smile. I like looking at you. And Taehyung, lonely, flattered, soft-hearted, smiled back. He didn't know the truth then. He didn't know that Jungkook didn't fall in love. He attached. He didn't adore. He claimed. He didn't want a partner. He wanted something beautiful that belonged only to him. They began dating. Jungkook wasn't cruel, not then. He was attentive, protective, possessive in a way that felt flattering, at first. He walked Taehyung home, bought him warm drinks, held his hand without asking, touched his hair often like he was memorizing it. But small things started happening whenever Taehyung laughed too brightly in public. Jungkook's arm would tighten around his waist. Whenever someone else complimented Taehyung, Jungkook's smile would vanish for minutes at a time. Whenever Taehyung talked to his male classmates, Jungkook would grow quiet and cold, watching every single movement. He never yelled, never struck, never even raised his voice. But the silence he carried was heavy, sharp. One evening, after Taehyung had a long conversation with a coworker at the studio, Jungkook asked, "Do you like him?" Taehyung froze. "He's just a friend." Jungkook nodded slowly, too slowly. "Good," he said softly, "because I don't share." Taehyung laughed nervously. "Jungkook, I'm serious." It happened one winter night. Taehyung had fallen asleep on the couch, curled up with a blanket and a sketchbook beside him. His hair fell over his eyes, lips parted softly, face peaceful. Jungkook stood in the doorway, staring. Something inside him clicked. Something irreversible. Mine. The word wasn't romantic. It wasn't sweet, it was instinctive, primal, possessive. Jungkook knelt beside him, brushing the hair back from Taehyung's face gently. Too gently. His thumb lingered on Taehyung's lips. He whispered something he never planned to say aloud. "I won't let anyone else have you, ever." Taehyung didn't hear him, but Jungkook heard himself, and that was enough. From that moment on, Jungkook's version of love twisted into something darker, because he decided something that night. Love wasn't enough. Affection wasn't enough. Being loved wasn't enough. Taehyung needed to be